From the start of this project, we wanted to explore how gender affected the definition of citizenship. And under the umbrella of Educating for Democracy, my partner and I plan to address the essential inquiry question, which is, how do gender roles fit into the concept of what a good Canadian citizen is within the context of social studies in the 1940s? And in specific, we will be looking at content that was used in Saskatchewan schools during this period. To further understanding, we are going to analyze what underpins a good Canadian citizen in the two defined gender roles, one being male and one being female.
Our thesis was kind of crafted through basically the exploration of our different primary sources, and from our original inquiry question. Me and my partner ended up deciding to kind of focus our lens more further into what really makes up a good Canadian citizen. So our thesis is as follows. A good Canadian citizen practices compliance within their given gender role, which requires clearly defined theoretical and hands-on activities, including, for example, students were told to create a mock household within the classroom and were required to role-play their gender duties. Students were also taught about the critical importance of historical male achievement within the Canadian context. A lot of the content that we found within our research kind of supported these claims, as we kind of discovered that the educator's main goal was to really educate and create future citizens of tomorrow. And this is very strongly shown through social studies content. When we first originally started this project, we had two original primary sources. The first being the program of studies for grades 1 to 4, supplied by the Ministry of Education. The second was McVitie's Faraway People, originally intended for social studies between the grades 3 and 4, and it was a textbook form. Both these books offer a very interesting kind of glimpse into what was really considered to be important to teach the future citizens in the 1940s. It really highlights how gender is ingrained within citizenship, as both these books kind of require the teacher to kind of teach about gender roles within their social studies programming. Within the program of studies, this also being our main primary source that we use for the rest of the project, the Ministry of Education really requires teachers to understand how gender roles are important and how to basically enforce to future students what their gender role will be when they become citizens in the future. Within grades 1, students are required to play in role-play-esque kind of settings where they have like a mock household. And inside this household, students are basically required to look after this household and to perform daily chores within this household, kind of surrounding around their gender norms. They're also taught about what mother does inside the household and also what father does within the household. And the gender norm is very rigid. It's only within two genders. So yeah, gives a interesting glimpse within it. Within McVitie's textbook, it kind of goes to highlight how other cultures view their gender roles, and how the author kind of uses their other gender roles to kind of reinforce gender roles within Canada, as the textbook is primarily used to kind of reinstate how the male figurehead is kind of supplied by the feminine counterparts, and kind of looked after to by the feminine counterpart. So males are kind of seen as the head of the house, and this is kind of seen throughout many of the chapters within that textbook.
Our understanding for educating for a good citizen. A common theme found within the document has been around shaping how students envision their social world and where they fall within that social context. The content is designed to ensure that future citizens understand their place, value, and role within society. Associated with this, the Social Studies Curriculum Guide sets up clearly defined gender roles within the primary years of education through role-play activities, while in the later grades, such as grade 5 and 6, students learn about the importance of male achievement through the retelling of historical moments. Female achievements are basically non-existent. The social studies content from the 1940s has ensured that the curriculum will continually teach students how their gender roles fit within the Euro-Western patriarchal society. And when looking at the curriculum document, gender roles were rigid and distinctive and non-transparent. All evidence is acquired from the Program of Studies Guide for grades 1 to 6. And the content we found within the primary years really focused on teaching students with what gender roles they would fit into once they became adults. And so we analyzed 6 quotes, and I will go over 3 of them. And quote number 2 states that father receiving money for his work, money to be used or saved, using the money father earns for food, clothing, coal, etc. So when analyzing this quote, we noted that the male figure, father, is the only one who generates an income to purchase household necessities. So we felt that this gave the male figure a higher value and a higher role within society because he is the provider of the family. While the female role is described in quote number 4 as seeing mother at work in the home, helping the children and father. We felt that the female duties were to complete housework and to take care of the children, which included father. And in order to teach defined gender roles, the curriculum study guide states that the teacher needs to create a mock household in which students take turns looking after the house during playtime. And while the students are engaging in this role play, the teacher is tasked with teaching students about the gender roles that both parents play within the family. And when looking at quote number 6, which explores the application of the social studies content within the older grades, we found that students learned about great explorers and their achievements. And quote number 6 states, into this world of romance and adventure, the child is led by grade 4 course. Rolling back the clouds, it is the theme, and it aims to reveal the world to the child as it is revealed to the discoverers and the explorers. From the stories of these men should emerge a wide acquaintance with the Earth's geography. And we felt that this quote really discussed the achievements of great male explorers as they revealed the world around them, and the authors portray, we felt, a gender bias of depicting history through a male-dominated lens only, and it really does fail to consider any historical female achievements.
So how does our comparison of the present citizenship compare to our past conceptualizations of citizenship? Well, citizenship has evolved in Canada. Previously in the 1940s, Canadian identity was mainly made up of Western ideal. And really what this looked like was strict definitions of what citizenship looks like once you become an adult. Your gender played a role within this, as if you were born a boy and grow up to be a man, well, as a citizen, being a masculine citizen, your job is to look after your family and provide for your family. And if you are born a girl and become a citizen, your definition of citizenship is to look after your household, as well as to look after your kids and your husband. And as Canada kind of evolves and grows with age, so does Canadian identity, as the people within the country make up Canadian identity at the end of the day. And although gender norms are still enforced today, within education, especially with future teacher candidates, going through education programs such as the ones at the U of S, we are taught that exploring multiple perspectives instead of one dominant perspective is favored, as it gives students much more perspective on the whole picture rather than one-sided conversations. And at the end of the day, gender is a part of this conversation, and it offers different perspectives. So although gender norms are still enforced within kind of unconscious way, gender is being redefined by Canada's current citizens, and throughout time, gender will, be changed once again once citizenship redefines it once again.